The influence of the Souls style of games on Hollow Knight is incredibly obvious once playing the game for a little bit. The design around each and every enemy being a threat is a lesson it holds dear, creating enemies that you still need to approach with some care, even once learned and progressed. And then there is the design around just using similar enemies but changing up their animations and attacks throughout the course of the game, so you're constantly getting used to different styles of enemies and more complex attacks. And then there is the design of the bosses that hold some similarities as well, with the encounters around strong, mysterious but understandable mechanics and animations. However, there is one key difference with the designs of these boss fights, and well, enemies in general, that holds it apart from Dark Souls, and that is that enemy health isn't visible. This changes the entire psychology of the encounter from a focus around overcoming fear and understanding actions to then overcoming the uncertainty the experience creates. With Dark Souls, you have constant record of the progress within a fight, shown with the health bar, and while encounters do create that fear and tension with understanding and overcoming these massive, hulking and terrifying creatures, you still have that foundational piece of knowledge. Without that knowledge though, that feeling of uncertainty creeps into the mind and begins poisoning your thoughts. How much damage do I need to do? How many hits is it going to take? How many stages will I have to go through? And it all ends up creating this overwhelming feeling of anxiety and doubt. During that first encounter, there is a certain amount of performance anxiety that takes over because of that uncertainty and anxiety. Your ability to analyze the mechanics and animations becomes slowed, and your ability to analyze various methods of avoidance and attacks diminish. Your reaction speeds also become that much slower as you attempt to control those emotions, and it often ends up in an initial failure. What it appears to be is a flight or fight response at first, where those basic instincts of fear and uncertainty take control, and you attempt to wrest some semblance of focus over it. Now, I still get that response every time I fight a boss for the first time in Dark Souls, and it's built to create that environment of terror, more so than I found in Hollow Knight, but I found with the added design of uncertainty that comes from not knowing your exact progress, it highlighted and then heightened those emotions more than you would expect. There were many times coming across a boss fight in Hollow Knight for the first time, where these emotions would take over. I'd forget everything I learnt previously and just try to keep my distance or blindly attack, which would quickly result in failure. Taking the time to then think over the fight and calm yourself for a moment then allowed you to analyze that fight and plan a solution. But the difference was there, that uncertainty, that initial fear of the unknown, and your progress creates an experience where you just don't think properly. The other element with the unknown amount of health and progress is that the fights come down to more than just your skill, but also a certain strength of will regarding persistence and endurance, to be able to execute those plans and strategies, to use twitch skills to move, dodge and attack, and to keep doing that with no defined finish point until the point the boss falls. It's hard and adds a lot of stress to the experience, a sort of performance anxiety situation. There was times with a couple of bosses where I didn't even realize how close I might have been with killing them, and yet had quit the fight to do something else afterwards. I noticed these patterns while watching others play as well. Without knowing that progress, and with that sense of persistence and endurance being eroded, doubt just takes over. It is an interesting approach to boss designs that highlights the emotions of fear and uncertainty that may already have been present to create an overwhelming sense of anxiety and doubt. It creates a mood that can cause more mistakes in play. It makes for a frustrating encounter at first that is hard to judge progress, hard to judge how well you are doing. That may mean people give up earlier than they would otherwise. It's also a design style that creates a rather effective mood and environment for these kinds of games, and probably an interesting aspect of gaming psychology. Well, thanks for tuning in, everyone, to my thoughts on Hollow Knight and the effects of uncertainty. Leave your thoughts and comments below, and I will see you next time.